found out at the end of this school year, on the very last work day, that my services were no longer required at Urban Prep. And the long and the short of it is I was fired for organizing a union.
Chairman McCoy, bring our teachers back. Chairman McCoy, bring our teachers back.
Good morning. I'm Reverend C.J. Hawking. I'm a United Methodist pastor and executive director of Arise Chicago. We have gathered here today in support of 16 teachers who have been fired from their charter school.
My name is LaTroy Farrow, and I've been a teacher at Urban Prep. I've had several different roles, which included health teacher all the way up to dean of students. One of my proudest roles was a pride leader. I was a pride leader for young men, and I taught them the way of life, not just math and English, but what I thought that they needed to learn to navigate through the world. Teachers have been thrown away as if they do not matter. Their success is directly attributed to the work that the teachers do.
That's right.
They've been fired, they've been dismissed. We're asking today that they reinstate the teachers, which include myself. All right, but also Chicago, support your teachers. Everyone says that they want a great educational experience for their young man or young lady. You have to value the teachers that stand in front of them. To just demean their profession as an educator, it does not bode well for the city of Chicago. Thank you.
A school that invests in its teachers is a school that invests in its students. My name is Mathias Muschal, and I had taught at Urban Prep for the past 6 years. I taught English, I taught public speaking, I taught creative writing. In addition to my classroom duties, I was a track and field coach as well as a football coach. I was fired this June for forming a union at my school along with my colleagues. A school that invests in its teachers is a school that invests in its students. I was let go just like Coach Farrow was, just like Natasha Robinson was over at the Inglewood campus. Miss Robinson was a veteran of Urban Prep for 7 years. Not just, she didn't just earn the esteem of her colleagues, but Miss Robinson was seen as a mother figure at the Inglewood campus. She was cast aside with no reason whatsoever, just told that her services were no longer required. There were 13 other teachers who were fired at the end of June, but just between Coach Farrow, Miss Robinson, and myself, that's 20 years of institutional knowledge. How can a school who throws away teachers so haphazardly claim that they care about the development of the network? When you throw away institutional knowledge like that, you are not doing anything to advance the school as a whole, and more importantly, when you throw away those teachers who have connections with those students, what does that say about a school who's willing to break those relationships? Just like Coach Farrow, I ask that Urban Prep does the right thing. I ask that the Board of Directors do the right thing and bring our teachers back.
I'm here speaking on behalf of our 1,000 members at 32 Chicago charter schools. You know, on June 3rd, when 60% of the teachers at Urban Prep voted to form a union, they created a situation where the employer legally cannot make significant changes to working conditions without consulting with the union, without negotiating. Certainly, firing 15% of their staff is a significant change in working conditions. And this is the law. They cannot do that. And they certainly cannot do it to punish people for forming a union. A charter operator, a recipient of tens of millions of dollars from the city, or from the taxpayers, charged with educating hundreds of Chicago students, needs to have much more of a commitment to following the law than Urban Prep management has. And management, people who cannot follow the law, probably should not be in the position they are in. At X, we are willing to look past this and move forward, but Urban Prep has to make things right. They have to reinstate these teachers and start off, accept the fact that the teachers voted for a union. You know, they may not like it. It doesn't matter. That's the law, and they need to deal with it. Mr. McCoy is a lawyer. He knows the law. He knows exactly what's going on, and this needs to stop.
As a publicly funded charter school, Urban Prep has a responsibility to explain to the people of Chicago why we should not assume that this is simply an act of intimidation and retaliation.
That's right. That's right.
Today, we are delivering a letter to Mr. Joseph McCoy, who is chairman of the board of directors of the Urban Prep Academies, signed by almost 40 religious leaders in the city of Chicago. requesting that he meet with representatives of the union, with teachers, and with members of the religious community to discuss the actions of Urban Prep and to seek a way forward that is just and fair for the workers and that will respect the students at Urban Prep as well. Urban Prep expects its students to respect all people and draws on biblical language, asking their students to be their brother's keeper.
That's right.
Urban Prep's leaders certainly assume that this extends to the teachers in their own school. And what the board and administration asks of its students, it should also expect of itself. So we will be delivering this letter this morning, requesting a meeting, and we will be eager to share with you the response from the chair of the board. Thank you very much.
Chairman McCoy, bring our teachers back! Chairman McCoy, bring our teachers back! Chairman McCoy, bring our teachers back!
We are calling on Chairman McCoy to bring back the 18 teachers and staff who were fired, and we know union busting when we see it. We know attacks on working families when we see it, because 60,000 of our members, home care workers and child care providers, are currently fighting Governor Rauner's attacks on working families that include attacks on home care workers and child care providers, and that include budget cuts that threaten to deny more than 50,000 seniors and people with disabilities the home care that they need, and that have already denied 5,000 working parents access to the child care assistance program. So we are proud to be here today to join the call to bring the teachers back, and to call on Chairman McCoy not to be a union buster, but to bring the teachers back. And we're proud to stand with the charter teachers in their fight for a union and a voice in quality education. Thank you.
Also, that solidarity extends to the Chicago Teachers Union, and from the Chicago Teachers Union to Chicago Acts. And representing the Chicago Teachers Union is Tabitha Kraft. Tabitha.
I am a mother first. I'm a dedicated teacher of 9 years, and I'm a proud Chicago Teachers Union member. Today, I'm here to stand by the 16 teachers who were fired unfairly for trying to do what their right as humans is to unionize, to create a fair working environment for who? For their students. Students who got to know them over these years, students who go to school waiting for their teachers to be there, teachers who want to be there. As a teacher, I know not everybody is cut out to be a teacher. I have friends who tell me, I don't know how you do it. I do it because I love it. They do it because they love it. I'm here today to stand by them, for them to get their jobs back. People deserve the right to unionize without fear of losing their jobs. It's just the way it is. Today, I'm here with my fellow CTU members, and we are demanding that Joseph McCoy reinstate these teachers. Hopefully, he's up there doing the right thing right now. Thank you.
Before we start marching, I want to bring back Brian Harris, Reverend Fred Kinsey, and Reverend John Thomas to report out on the delivery of the letter from the religious leaders. Folks, all three.
Okay.
We went to the offices of Chairman McCoy and asked to meet with him. We were informed he was not in today. We then were allowed to leave our letter, and they promised to deliver it to him and to his personal office. The letter asked that we receive a response by August 14th, a week from today, and that response is to go to Reverend C.J. Hawking at Arise Chicago. And on the 14th, we will hopefully be able to report that a meeting has been scheduled. And if not, we'll be discussing what our next steps will be with the teachers and other religious leaders. So thank you.
Has an unfair labor complaint already been filed in this case?
Yes, it has been.
Okay.
2 of them, I believe. Yeah.
And that's pending?
A few weeks ago at the CPS board, there were 2 groups of protesters. There were people from CTU protesting cuts to neighborhood schools, $200 million in cuts to neighborhood schools. And then there was a group called Charter Parents United, and they were protesting that the charter schools weren't getting all of their payment at the beginning of the year as they traditionally did. So I think this year CPS said that the charter schools were originally only going to get 15% up front and the rest of the 85% later. But I believe that last week that issue was resolved and that the charter schools ended up getting all of the money they were supposed to.